Hey everybody, it's Carla. Welcome to the Happy Bookmaker. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is July 5th, the day after Independence Day in the US, of course, and I hope you had a great holiday. It started out hot here yesterday and then ended up raining almost all day and into the night, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it because I love that cooler weather. And it was one of the first 4th of July holidays where it wasn't so hot that it was unbearable. So I loved it. Anyway, and it's still nice and cool today. It's going to be in the 60s. Yeah, it's my kind of weather. So what I wanted to do today is go over my finished vacation journal that we made together in a previous video. And I will link the video in the description box of how we made this little booklet out of some chipboard and mixed media paper and ribbon and pretty much it, and some stamps and ink and a few little they weren't stickers, but they were part of a Disney collection because my trip obviously was to Disneyland. So we're going to go over this in just a second, but I wanted to let you know that this little vacation travel companion that I made in another video previous to the vacation journal, I actually did use. So I didn't do it just to do a video. I'd made several of them, and then I kind of chose the vacation that I wanted to do, which ended up being Disneyland. And I put this in my bag and had it in the airport and on the plane, and I had all my stuff in here, my driver's license, my printed travel documents and everything. I had stuff in the pocket, which is now in the in my little, I'll call it a little traveling art journal. And then so I had my to-do list, which I made out and checked everything off, and my packing checklist and confirmation numbers, and events that I had planned, and flight numbers and things like that, reservation numbers or reservations. I have my emergency contacts here, which I've covered up because there's personal information for other people on that, which would not be appropriate for me to show. And a few empty pages, which, I might or might not have used ever. So I did have something else in the pocket back here. But just FYI, I did use it, and it came in really handy. I had everything all in one place, and I wasn't digging through my purse for everything. So that was great. Okay, so for my little journal, and again, you'll see how to make this in the previous video, but it was functional. It was the right size. It fit into the little bag that I had. I brought along a few, a few little markers. These, what are they called? Brush markers. I did not take the whole set like this. I just took a few. And a pencil and, a waterproof marker. This is Artist Loft, but you can use a Sharpie. Sharpies are great. And so some of these I just did the sketching while I was there. Some I used the markers. I did not take any paints with me. I didn't want to be messing with my watercolors while I was there. And so some I did while I was there, and some I waited till I got home. And the watercolors, I did 2 watercolors. I did those actually last night, which is why I want to share this with you today. So let's start. So my first solo trip to Disneyland or any Disney resort, and I wanted to go, and nobody else could go. So you know what? I thought, I'm a big girl, I can do this. So I booked it. And in the front pocket here, I have a printed boarding pass, which, normally you don't get, and I did use my phone, but they switched my seat on the return flight. It was just like going from one window seat to another one to accommodate someone. And I don't know why they do that, but they printed out a ticket. So I stuck it in there. It's nothing special. And then there are parts that I have in here that were cut out from the printed reservation sheets, that I printed from the internet. And so I just cut them out and did a little bit of outlining. So Disneyland 2023. And what was the hotel? Oh, no. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the hotel. If I think of it, I'll tell you. It was across the street from the gates. And there were a few of them there. And I thought, well, that'll be really close. And it was close. And so you had to go down about half a block and then cross over into the gates. But let me tell you, it's still a hike. And at the end of the day, when I was tired, I thought, I thought that hike back to the hotel was going to kill me. It was so, it gets long when you're tired. In the morning, not so bad. But, you know, when you're going back, it gets a little bit long. It was okay. It was an okay hotel. I can't say I'd stay there again, but it was okay, you know, and it was a lot less expensive. So anyway, so there's my opening pages. And then I have to say my very favorite of my sketches, and this is watercolor. But let's start here. Like on the plane, I got, of course, it was an early morning flight. So, you know, you don't really get anything anymore. I think they actually did give us a little, some weird little chocolate thing, which didn't taste like chocolate. I don't know what it was. But I had coffee, and I liked the little design on the cup, these little coffee beans. And if you can see like there, so I did a little quick sketch of that, and nothing fancy, but you know, again, it's all part of my travel experience. And I love my coffee, so I love having coffee on the plane. So that was part of what I sketched out. And I did this sketch later. I did not sketch this at, you know, this is at the entrance of Disneyland Park. I didn't sit there and sketch this whole thing. I took a picture of it and sketched it later because there's just, you know, too much detail. And I knew I wanted it to be one of my my beginning pages. But this is, like I said, it's at the beginning of the park. And then there's the railroad station up here. And then the flowers all done up in Mickey here. And then there's a fence. But I love the way this turned out. And yeah, it was super fun to paint. And not that hard to sketch, honestly. I mean, I'm not going for like total realism here. It's you know, it's kind of cartoony, I guess you'd call it. And here is where I used parts of the guide map. You know how you go in and you can pick up a guide map to tell you where the restaurants are and the restrooms and, you know, the layout of Disneyland or California Adventure. So I just kind of took parts of that and made a little collage. And you can see it's all wrinkled up because I kept folding it and unfolding it. And my first meal in Disneyland was in Frontierland at a place called Harbor Galley. And it was sourdough filled with clam chowder. It was a sourdough bowl. And, you know, they make the sourdough right there. They make it, I mean, they may make it in Disneyland too, but California Adventure, there's actually a little attraction. It's actually a bakery where they make the sourdough, and you get a free sample, which of course I did that too, like the next day. But it's amazing. The sourdough is amazing. The clam chowder was wonderful. It's probably not the best sketch I've done. I kept trying to make it look like clam chowder, and it looks, I don't know what it looks like now, but I should have just left it plain because this was done on marker. There's no cream colored marker. I should have just left it, but you know, I was trying to get that clam chowder look in there. But it was very yummy, and I found a really nice little quiet spot to sit. It was kind of like you go around this little bend, and there were just like 3 little tables, and it was kind of out of the way. And it was kind of overseeing some water, and there were ducks down below. And I got this little corner spot. This happened like 3 times, which was wonderful. And I just sat there and I did I started a little sketch. I finished it later, and just sat there and enjoyed my clam chowder in my sourdough bowl and watching the ducks and the little people watching across the water. It was lovely. It was just lovely. So this was like a little cutout from a little scrapbook kit that I had for a long time, and I had to use a white colored pencil. Let's see if I can read it. I mean, I don't know how else you're supposed to write on black. It's definitely meant to be written on because it's got little lines. So some of my favorite things were alone time, good food. I'm even going to say great food in some instances, and no chores. Just the independence of getting to do whatever I wanted to do at the pace that I wanted to do it. Just being in Disney, because I love Disney, anything. and the rides, and I did all the rides that I wanted to do. I think I did Haunted Mansion twice or something, or Pirates twice. I can't remember, but I had a great time. So this is just a little kind of collage sketch of some of my favorite attractions. One of them, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, which is in Disneyland Park. Cars Land is in California Adventure, and it is where, what is the name of that? Something Springs, Radiator Springs. And there is an amazing attraction there, which I did have to pay for. It's like the new version of Fast Pass, but it's a Genie Plus. And I did have to pay extra to get on that fast because otherwise the wait was 130 minutes from when you got into the park. And it's like, there's no way. There's just no way I'm doing it. And it was worth $20 to me. It may not be, to other people. And if you have a family of 4 or whatever, that's a lot, so it may or may not be worth it. Yeah, amazing attraction. I know why there's a long wait. And then 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, that's what it used to be. It is now, I don't know if they call it Finding Nemo, but it's like a Finding Nemo attraction. So you go down in the submarine, and you go down into the water, and it's all Finding Nemo scenes, and it's lovely and it's charming. It wasn't very hot when I was there, but it was warm inside that inside that sub. And I'll tell you, I could not wait to get out of there. As much as I loved it and enjoyed it, I was just like smiling and giggles the whole time. It was hot and I couldn't wait. So loved that. These are 3 of my favorites for sure. And just a little journaling of some of my experiences, just the fun that I had just going at my own pace and doing just what I wanted to do, and stopping and sitting on a bench, or stopping on the way out of Disneyland Park. My first night, I grabbed a Dole Whip and headed out to the park. I didn't want to wait until it would have been melted by the time I got back to the hotel. So I sat on a bench by the entrance. And as I did that, a little school band showed up right there. Not a marching band, but, like a school playing band. What am I trying to say? You know what I'm saying? And it was wonderful. They were so good, and it was so fun. And not that many people had gathered around because a lot of people were still trying to, do rides and stuff like that. And I just sat there with my Dole Whip on that bench and just enjoyed it. And when I was done, I was rested, and I walked back to my hotel, and it was great. I loved it. One of my favorite meals was in California Adventure at Wine Country Trattoria, and it was what was it? Shrimp Alfredo, and then and a glass of prosecco, and then for dessert I had tiramisu. And of course, there's the little, what do they call it? The smear of chocolate sauce and strawberries. And of course, I got to have my coffee with cream with my dessert. This is watercolor. I did sketch it out. I lightly sketched it and then finished sketching it in later. And of course, took a picture so that I could get the colors right. And painted this in with watercolors last night. So delicious. And again, I had a lovely seat, a little tiny table, and I just sat there and I took my time and watched the people, watched the birds. They kept showing up looking for crumbs, and I just really, truly enjoyed it. It was wonderful. And let's see, make sure I get, did I miss? No, I didn't. Okay. They're kind of, so when you use like a wet medium like watercolor on this mixed media, I did find that after I did that, the pages want to curl up. So I did have to put a book, after it dried, I set some books on top of this, and it kind of helped flatten it out. And I'm going to do it some more because back behind here, I did a little photo collage. I only probably took about 10 photos the whole time, but these were some of the highlights. And here was, I was in another little out of the way spot having a pretzel. And this little spot that you walk down, and in the back, there was like 3 little tables, and it was overlooking the water, and there were ducks in the water, and then this big bird, I don't know, is it a pigeon? I don't really know what it is, but I'm like I'm right here, and he flies up and he's staring at me, and I think he wanted food. I was like, sorry, buddy. I can't give you anything. That would be wrong. And because, you know, they don't really want you to feed them. But it was a great memory. And one of my very favorite rides is Mickey and Minnie Runaway Railroad. Love that ride. Took 3 tries to get on it because it kept breaking down. But I finally did it. And I did manage to catch a part of the Moana parade. I got kind of the very end of it. I got Moana and Maui, and I did do some video of that too. But some of my favorite moments, and of course Cinderella's castle, and like, you know, what else is there to say about that? It's beautiful. I could have sketched it, I could have taken the time, but this is a beautiful picture, and I just didn't see any reason, you know, not to, you know, use some of my photos in here. Again, I do have to kind of get this stuck down a little bit better. But, and then for my final page, I did a little sketch of Donald. We got to get some Donald in there. And kind of one of those cartoon movie ends, the end. And unfortunately, my Donald eyes didn't turn out quite the way I wanted him to. He looks a little angry, maybe maniacal, I don't know. But it's not bad. It's not too bad. So, so we ended up with Donald Duck. And here's the remainder of my guide map stuck in this pocket back here. I did pilfer through it and use a lot of it. But that's that. Some wonderful memories. And I always will have this little book. Doesn't take up a lot of space, so, you know, I've got him now. So that is that for my Disney vacation journal. Now, if that's all you're here for, cool, I get it. You can skip out on the rest. But I have been working on Flowers Red Toile. I did some more pages on my own because, again, I'm trying to get it. It's time to, as they say, get her done. So I'm trying to get some things done, not real, you know, fancy layouts, just on my own, just to get a few out of the way. So you can see I've been busy again, but these are pretty simple. We, in most cases, have a big journaling page and a pocket to hold some kind of ephemera. This is part of the French haul that I ordered off of Etsy. Some kind of a little tourism card, and I just thought that that fit nicely in here. And a sheet of music, and a little coffee dyeing digital image here. And down here, same thing. We've got pretty journaling page. It's just the other side of a digital image. So it kind of bleeds through a little bit, but I kind of like that because you get a hint of the color that's going on the opposite side. And it kind of gives you like a little direction of where you might want to go. You don't have to, but where you might want to go to decorate this. So this was a digital image that I really coffee dyed up and inked up, and another piece of a French ephemera haul. This, it definitely is old. It's a little bit crispy even. So I thought that would be safe to stick in here. And this is an antique book page. And the print is like kind of raised. I love it. I know I've talked about that before. Down here. Now in this case, I don't have a whole page for journaling. Whoops. But you definitely could be doing a little journaling here. Here's a little basket stamp. I've got to do something with my stamps because it's getting to be that the centers are like not showing up, so I have to like clean them off. But that's okay. You can see it's a basket of something, right? And a botanical cutout on this French, or rather, well, it is French, digital image printout. And this was from Book and Paper Arts. It was an image that I printed out, and it was, she had like front and back, so 2 separate images. And I ran it through the printer and then flipped it over the correct way and got the back of it on the same sheet and inked it up and aged it up. And I think it looks really good. It's one of my favorite things to do. I could just sit and age things up like all day, but kind of perfect for this little pocket. And I've got another pretty journaling page. sheet of music. This is the 1877 French dictionary, just a little sleeve, or rather pocket, made out of that, and a little tiny scrap of vellum for a little secondary pocket with a little birdie image, and a little digital postcard printed out, aged up, and could be used for some journaling space. And again, journaling space. Yeah, there's a lot of color going on there, but it can still be used. And a botanical image over some sheet music that I did a little digital printout and inked it up. Now I thought when I did these that I printed them too big, because I mean it looks big, right? But I got this from Book and Paper Arts. But then when I saw she had like the real stuff, I watched a recent video, and they really were big like this. So I guess I did okay printing them. You know, they can be whatever size you want them to be. And so I just folded it up and made a little pocket down here and tucked that in there. Love that. Oh, I think this is my favorite of this last batch. Because of course I love pink. And here's our black and white toile tissue. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do anything on this page because I love it with the bee and just the design, the coffee staining over stencil work. And I just loved it. But then I decided I could bring in a little bit of this pink and put in another piece of ephemera. And this is from my little haul. And what is that a symbol of? Like, it's kind of like our Red Cross, but maybe it is a Red Cross in France. And, you know, just some French writing on here. I don't know that it's particularly old, but it is French. And it looks really cute in our belly band. So I like that. Of course, on the other side, we've got more journaling space on this pretty coffee dyed French paper. And I mean, really all it is a matter of throwing down some paper, and I put like dark coffee in a spritzer bottle, and I spritz it on both sides, and I spritz it on one side, flip it over, then do the other side. I let it dry, and then I iron them on a low iron. Just use low heat, and then you can run them through the printer if you want to, and if you have a printer that will take maybe a little bit thicker paper. And yeah, I love the way they turned out. And in this one, I've got, let me make sure. I think this is a pocket. Yeah, it is a pocket. I haven't stuck anything in there yet. I was kind of debating about what to do. But again, more journaling space and a pocket to hold something pretty in the future. And my last one is another one of those antique book pages, a little botanical image. And this is just a printout of some French words. I know it doesn't look French, but it is. And then some script coffee dyed paper. And I think that this was an image from Graphics Fairy that I printed out and aged up a little, just cut out and made a pocket. And again, another digital postcard that I printed out, inked up, gave it a little, beat it up a little bit, and a little admission ticket stamp on the back for a little journaling, because there isn't really any journaling space on here, although obviously you could write on there if you really wanted to, but this one's pretty simple, I think. So yeah, that's that. So that's where we're at. I'm not sure how many I have left to do, but we're getting close. So that's gonna do it for this video today. I wanted to keep it short. Last week I did 3 videos. I did 3 long videos. So I'm gonna cut you some slack. I'm gonna cut me some slack and make this a shorter one today. I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you watching, liking, subscribing, and being part of this Happy Bookmaker Club. I love it. Thanks so much, you guys. See you next time. Bye.